The Rose and the Butterfly. A butterfly once fell in love with a beautiful rose. The rose was not indifferent, for the butterfly's wings were powdered in a charming pattern of gold and silver. And so, when he fluttered near and told how he loved her, she blushed rosily and said yes. After much pretty love-making and many whispered vows of constancy, the butterfly took a tender leave of his sweetheart. But alas, it was a long time before he came back to her.
"Is this your constancy?"
she exclaimed tearfully.
"It is ages since you went away, and all the time you have been carrying on with all sorts of flowers. I saw you kiss Miss Geranium, and you fluttered around Miss Mignonet until Honeybee chased you away. I wish he had stung you."
"Constancy,"
laughed the butterfly,
"I had no sooner left you than I saw Zephyr kissing you. You carried on scandalously with Mr. Bumblebee, and you made eyes at every single bug you could see. You can't expect any constancy from me."
Do not expect constancy in others if you have none yourself. The Cat and the Fox. Once, a cat and a fox were traveling together. As they went along, picking up provisions on the way, a stray mouse here, a fat chicken there, they began an argument to while away the time between bites. And, as usually happens when comrades argue, the talk began to get personal.
"You think you're extremely clever, don't you?"
said the fox.
"Do you pretend to know more than I? Why, I know a whole sackful of tricks."
"Well,"
retorted the cat,
"I admit I know one trick only, but that one, let me tell you, is worth 1,000 of yours."
Just then, close by, they heard a hunter's horn and the yelping of a pack of hounds. In an instant, the cat was up a tree, hiding among the leaves.
"This is my trick,"
he called to the fox.
"Now let me see what yours are worth."
But the fox had so many plans for escape, he could not decide which one to try first. He dodged here and there, with the hounds at his heels. He doubled on his tracks. He ran at top speed. He entered a dozen burrows. But all in vain. The hounds caught him, and soon put an end to the boaster and all his tricks. Common sense is always worth more than cunning. The Boy and the Nettle. A boy, stung by a nettle, ran home crying to get his mother to blow on the hurt and kiss it.
"Son,"
said the boy's mother when she had comforted him,
"the next time you come near a nettle, grasp it firmly, and it will be as soft as silk."
Whatever you do, do with all your might. The Old Lion. A lion had grown very old. His teeth were worn away. His limbs could no longer bear him, and the king of beasts was very pitiful indeed as he lay gasping on the ground about to die. Where now his strength and his former graceful beauty? Now a boar spied him, and rushing at him, gored him with his yellow tusk. A bull trampled him with his heavy hoofs. Even a contemptible ass let fly his heels and brayed his insults in the face of the lion. It is cowardly to attack the defenseless, though he be an enemy. The Fox and the Pheasants. One moonlight evening, as Master Fox was taking his usual stroll in the woods, he saw a number of pheasants perched quite out of his reach on a limb of a tall old tree. The sly fox soon found a bright patch of moonlight where the pheasants could see him clearly. There he raised himself up on his hind legs and began a wild dance. First he whirled round and round like a top. Then he hopped up and down, cutting all sorts of strange capers. The pheasants stared giddily. They hardly dared blink for fear of losing him out of their sight a single instant. Now the fox made as if to climb a tree. Now he fell over and lay still, playing dead. And the next instant he was hopping on all fours, his back in the air, and his bushy tail shaking so that it seemed to throw out silver sparks in the moonlight. By this time, the poor birds' heads were in a whirl, and when the fox began his performance all over again, so dazed did they become that they lost their hold on the limb and fell down one by one to the fox. Too much attention to danger may cause us to fall victims to it. Two travelers and a bear. Two men were traveling in company through a forest when, all at once, a huge bear crashed out of the brush near them. One of the men, thinking of his own safety, climbed a tree. The other, unable to fight the savage beast alone, threw himself on the ground and lay still, as if he were dead. He had heard that a bear will not touch a dead body. It must have been true, for the bear snuffed at the man's head a while, and then, seeming to be satisfied that he was dead, walked away. The man in the tree climbed down.
It looked just as if that bear whispered in your ear,
he said.
What did it tell you?
He said,
answered the other,
that it was not at all wise to keep company with a fellow who would desert his friend in a moment of danger.
Misfortune is the test of true friendship. The Porcupine and the Snakes. A porcupine was looking for a good home. At last he found a little sheltered cave where lived a family of snakes. He asked them to let him share the cave with them, and the snakes kindly consented. The snakes soon wished they had not given him permission to stay. His sharp quills pricked them at every turn, and at last they politely asked him to leave.
I am very well satisfied, thank you,
said the porcupine.
I intend to stay right here.
And with that, he politely escorted the snakes out of the doors, and to save their skins, the snakes had to look for another home. Give a finger and lose a hand. The Fox and the Monkey. At a great meeting of the animals, who had gathered to elect a new leader, the monkey was asked to dance. This he did so well, with 1,000 funny capers and grimaces, that the animals were carried entirely off their feet with enthusiasm, and then and there elected him their king. The fox did not vote for the monkey, and was much disgusted with the animals for electing so unworthy a ruler. One day he found a trap with a bit of meat in it. Hurrying to King Monkey, he told him he had found a rich treasure, which he had not touched because it belonged by right to His Majesty the monkey. The greedy monkey followed the fox to the trap. As soon as he saw the meat, he grasped eagerly for it, only to find himself held fast in the trap. The fox stood off and laughed.
You pretend to be our king,
he said,
and cannot even take care of yourself.
Shortly after that, another election among the animals was held. The true leader proves himself by his qualities. The Mother and the Wolf. Early one morning, a hungry wolf was prowling around a cottage at the edge of a village when he heard a child crying in the house. Then he heard the mother's voice say,
Hush, child, hush. Stop your crying, or I will give you to the wolf.
Surprised, but delighted at the prospect of so delicious a meal, The wolf settled down under an open window, expecting every moment to have the child handed out to him. But though the little one continued to fret, the wolf waited all day in vain. Then, toward nightfall, he heard the mother's voice again as she sat down near the window to sing and rock her baby to sleep.
There, child, there. The wolf shall not get you. No, no. Daddy is watching, and Daddy will kill him if he should come near.
Just then, the father came within sight of the home, and the wolf was barely able to save himself from the dogs by a clever bit of running. Do not believe everything you hear. The flies and the honey. A jar of honey was upset, and the sticky sweetness flowed out on the table. The sweet smell of the honey soon brought a large number of flies buzzing around. They did not wait for an invitation. No, indeed, they settled right down, feet and all, to gorge themselves. The flies were quickly smeared from head to foot with honey. Their wings stuck together. They could not pull their feet out of the sticky mass. And so they died, giving their lives for the sake of a taste of sweetness. Be not greedy for a little passing pleasure. It may destroy you. The Eagle and the Kite. An eagle sat high in the branches of a great oak. She seemed very sad and drooping for an eagle. A kite saw her.
Why do you look so woebegone?
Asked the kite.
I want to get married,
Replied the eagle.
and I can't find a mate who can provide for me as I should like.
Take me.
Said the kite.
I'm very strong, stronger even than you.
Do you really think you can provide for me?
Asked the eagle eagerly.
Why, of course.
Replied the kite.
That would be a very simple matter. I am so strong, I can carry away an ostrich in my talons as if it were a feather.
The eagle accepted the kite immediately. But after the wedding, when the kite flew away to find something to eat for his bride, all he had when he returned was a tiny mouse.
Is that the ostrich you talked about?
Said the eagle in disgust.
To win you, I would have said and promised anything.
Replied the kite. Everything is fair in love.